Well, welcome everyone to the September 21st Lee Selectboard meeting. We want to let everyone know that the meeting will be recorded. If you'd like to be recognized at the bottom, just hit the reactions button and raise hand. And please stay muted until called upon by the chair. Well, Madam Chair, all set?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. First thing on the agenda is the minutes of the open session of September the 7th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from September 7th as written.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We got a roll call, don't we?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Sean Renier, aye.
Bob Jones, aye.
Pat Carlino, aye. Okay. No public hearings tonight. So now we've begun having our public comments in the beginning of the meeting. So if there are any public comments, now is the time to speak.
I do not see any hands at the moment, Madam Chair.
Okay. Give it a few more seconds.
Am I on the agenda or a public comment?
Who is-
Susan Stone.
You're on the agenda, Susan.
Okay.
If you don't mind just waiting a few minutes. Okay, nobody else?
I do not see anyone.
Okay, so we'll start our general business. And the first item of our general business is a pleasant one. And we'd like to inform people that we are making an appointment of Christopher Britton to be our interim town administrator effective September 27th. Could I have a motion to that effect?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Christopher Britton to the interim town administrator position effective September 27th.
I will second it.
All those in favor?
Sean Renier, aye.
Bob Jones, aye.
Pat Carlino, aye. And we're going to welcome Chris to the group and hope you do well. I'm sure you will.
Sure you will, yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Okay, now we have appointments to the Cultural Council, which is nice. We have some people who have decided to join. Okay, so we have, could I have a motion for the appointments of Kathy Crow, Marilyn Wyatt, and Harriet Miller to the Cultural Council?
I move that we appoint Kathy Crow, Marilyn Wyatt, and Harriet Miller to the Cultural Council.
Second.
All those in favor?
Bob Jones, aye.
Sean Renier, aye.
Pat Carlino, aye. And we'd like to thank our three new appointments for joining. Now, Susan, I have you on the next, at the next one, and but I have a note in the back that says Susan Stone Historical Commission on next agenda. But
Well-
you wanted to be on tonight, right?
Well, there are two issues. The
Okay.
one I wanted to bring to you tonight was about the fact that we've lost two members, David Talbert and Keith O'Neill have both moved away. So we're down two members. We actually still have five. But I wanted to let it be known that we would welcome any volunteers or people who would wish to join us. We have a lot of work to do and need some help.
Okay. And I would suggest one listening, or if this gets in the newspaper, that would like to explore joining the Historical Commission, give our office a call.
Thank you. That's it.
We'll pass it along too.
Okay.
Would you like that on the website as well, Madam Chair?
Yes,
Yeah.
please. So then, Susan, are you coming in next week or next time with another issue?
Well, yes.
Okay.
I believe, Madam Chair, I believe Susan muted herself mid-sentence.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. And welcome, Chris Britton. You've been phenomenal, as you have, Chris Ketchen. But anyway, I have been remiss as chairman to have my membership apply for reappointment in their time of termination. So you will be receiving letters of requests for appointments, hopefully, for your next meeting.
Oh, okay.
To renew our appointments. Nothing earth-shattering.
All right. We'll watch for that to come in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And now we're down to something probably everybody's waiting. As you know, the board publicly sent out a need for the town administrator search committee appointments. We were very lucky. I felt we had 15 good candidates that applied, and it was hard to choose. So we tried to do it in a very non-partial way, with the three of us making our own lists and coming up, and then we put together the numbers. And what I'd like to do is read you the names of the people who will be on the search committee and just a little bit about them. And they're not in any order, just the order they came in. So the first person is Gordon Daly. Gordon was a former select board member, a former state building inspector, former Lee building inspector. He's a planning board alternative and a town rep. And I'm sure Gordon's going to bring a lot of knowledge to the committee and help. The next person is Nick Arianti, who is our current finance committee chairman, former member of the personnel board, and is an attorney at law. Third, we have David Consolati, who is a former select board member for 9 years and did serve on 2 search committees. And I believe David was a member of the LYA also. I'm not sure of that. But. Fourth is Janet Warner. Janet's a former school department employee, former LYA director, town rep. She's on the Lee Youth Committee, and what served on the Charter Review Committee. Next is Susan Kelly, who was the town of Lee's former treasurer collector, DPW administrative assistant. She's currently employed by Bartholomew and Son, which is a government banking institution that deals with government officials throughout Massachusetts. And she's also a member of the finance committee. 6, hold on. We have a brand new person. And if you don't mind, I'd like to read her letter she sent in. And this is from Rochelle Walker to the Lee Select Board. My name is Rochelle Walker. I'm a 32-year-old resident who was born and raised with deep family roots in the town of Lee. Both of my parents come from large families who were born, raised, and mostly settled here. As a teenager, I was an active member of the community by playing sports, frequenting the LYA, volunteering with the Special Olympics, and babysitting. After high school, I went away to Springfield College for 4 years. She majored in rehabilitation, disability studies, and played basketball. When I returned to Lee, I helped coach the Lee Middle and High School girls varsity basketball team for a few years, where I was able to reconnect with the community. Along with coaching, I also picked up second, third jobs at both the Locker Room and Bucky's Tavern, which allowed me to continue to build relationships with the people of Lee. Throughout my 32 years, I feel as though I have developed some wonderful relationships with many different people of all generations and backgrounds in our town. This has made me realize how many people I care about and how important it is to me that Lee stays as wonderful and special as it was when I was growing up. One of the many ways to contribute to that is to be informed and involved in our local government. I know that it will be very difficult to find someone to fill Chris Ketchen's shoes, but I would be honored to help find the right person for his replacement. I hope that you will consider me to serve on the search committee for the new town administrator. I just felt I needed to because she hasn't served on any boards or anything, but she sent us a letter, and I felt it important to read that. And then our last candidate is by the name of Marilyn Wyatt, who I've not met, and I have a letter from her also, a little bit of a background. Hi, Patty. Thanks for your quick response. Here's a short profile. I grew up in a farming community in Maryland, not all that different from Lee. After graduate school, I joined the U.S. Foreign Service and was posted to embassies in Warsaw and Prague. Eventually, I left the State Department for family reasons and built up a practice as a coach to international nonprofit boards, which I still do today. I continued to live and work overseas. To live and work overseas for about 20 years until moving back to the U.S. in 2014. I lived in New York City for a few years before realizing that I really missed small town life and access to nature. After looking for about a year, this was before COVID, of course, I found the perfect house on Maple Street, where I am today. In addition to the board work, I'm an editor and writer. I'm single and have 2 grown children. I work from home and consider Lee my permanent address. What would I bring to the group? From my work with boards, I understand effective decision-making processes in small groups. As a writer and editor, I communicate well. As a relative newcomer to Lee, it can bring a fresh and independent perspective to the issues that the town faces. I see Lee as having amazing potential and capable of flourishing under the right leadership. And I just wrote it back and said, thank you for that. I also have a letter from Janet Warner, which I could read, but everybody knows Janet, so I don't know that I need to bother, but it's available if anybody wants to. So having said that, that is our search committee. Those that didn't make it will be receiving a letter from our office, hopefully by Thursday. But again, I'd like to say thank you for everybody who did apply. It was really heartwarming to see the number of people that stepped out to come forward, because it's not an easy job. Now, I say this, but the people who were selected for the search committee are also going to get a letter. What I'd like to do is ask them to join us at our next meeting, at which time we'll go over duties and responsibilities, how it's going to work, and then we'll turn it over to them. In the meantime, Cindy and Lindsay will be preparing packets for all of us that have different job descriptions in them, our original administrative act, and explanations. And my thought is that we can take that packet home, look through it over the next 2 weeks. If we have something we'd like to include in the job description or something not necessary to the town of Lee, we can take out, and maybe we can get that all into Cindy maybe a week before our next meeting and go over it. Does that sound all right with you two?
Sounds good.
Sean, you?
Yeah, that sounds great, Patty.
Okay. So and Chris Britton, you probably can answer this. Do you think this type of committee rises to the occasion that they need to be sworn in by you?
Yeah, if they can stop by anytime.
We'll put that in the letter.
They don't need to make an appointment or anything, but yeah, if they can come in whenever it's convenient. If that doesn't work, they give me a call and we can arrange something else for them as well. So.
All right, so we'll put that information in the letter that goes out to them too. And again, I'd like to say thank you for everybody who applied, and we appreciate your interest in the town and willing to, step out and spend the next few months with the town. So I guess that is about all I have to say. With that, congratulations to everybody. Maybe.
Madam Chair, if I could, might I suggest that the method of appointment was clearly spelled out by the board at your last meeting, and you've now gone through the process and executed that method. And the scoring that staff received reflected the list that you read. The board may do well to formally move an appointment of each of the named individuals as a formal matter.
Okay, you're right, Chris. Thank you.
Can we
Anybody
do
want to do that?
can we do it collectively? Just name.
I think that works. Sure.
Okay. Now I'll make a motion to appoint David Consolati, Janet Warner, Susan Kelly, Nick Arienti, Gordon Bailey, Marilyn Wyatt, and Rochelle Walker to the Town Administrator Search Committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Bob Jones, aye.
Sean Renier, aye.
Pat Carlino, aye. Thank you and congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm extremely encouraged by the diversity of the group, and I think that we'll have a good search here.
I think we will. Okay, moving on. Kathy, are you here?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. So, yes, you want an update on the potential community center. First of all, we're having a changing of the guard here. Chris Ketchen, thank you for putting all this notion of a community center into our heads and to say go for the gusto. And welcome Chris Britton, who is now taking the baton and needs to continue helping us move forward for what needs to be done to bring this notion of a community center to fruition. We are moving right along with the representatives of Barry Dunn. Barbara Heller has already started to contact people that she would like to talk to. We have a list of about 20 people. Some are people within the department, different departments in Lee. And Jess Myatt is also starting to contact people. Barbara's going to be focusing on the marketing analysis, and Jesse is focusing on the financial feasibility. And I think I already said we do have like 20 names of people. We will have 4 meetings. 1 will be a public meeting, and 3 will be separate meetings with staff and stakeholders. And I think that's it for what we're doing now. Those meetings are going to start September 30th and into October. So hopefully within the 2 weeks of October, the people from Barry and Dunn will be able to have their scheduled meetings. What they're going to do, they won't have a meeting with all 20 people. They're going to put them by whatever the needs are, whatever things, the data that they have to get from an individual group. That's why there's going to be those 3 meetings. And then there will also be a public meeting. So that's it for, yes.
Kathy, are you saying the public meeting will be at the end of their discussions with the 20 people?
Well, I don't know where that's going to fall into. I just know that there's 4 meetings. I don't know when those meetings are going to be. But I'm sure that, you know, the public's going to be involved before the end of everything. That would be my thought, because they're going to want to hear what the townspeople have to say or what direction they want to go.
Okay. And where did they get the names of the people to call?
They asked me to get the names of people in the different departments in Lee.
Okay.
So I went on our website, listed all those people, gave her all the email addresses that, you know, for the town of Lee. Then there were certain people they certainly wanted from one of our meetings. It made it very clear that they needed to talk to Alan Zerbato, from the superintendent of the DPW. Alan made it very clear that for the information that they're looking for the staffing, like custodial staff who's going to clean it, maintain it, and all that, that we also invite Jordan Mayer, who's the facilities director at the Lee Public School. So they will be talking to him, since that's a contained building and is more realistic than separate buildings within the town. I'm trying to think. Oh, certainly somebody from the Lee Library, somebody maybe from the Planning Board, maybe from the Conservation Commission. Those were suggestions. Whether they're going to talk to all those people, I'm not sure. They're certainly going to talk to all the departments that deal with monies in the town. They need to do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, next, we don't have any pending business in front of us, so we're down to town administrator. And Chris, I believe you have something tonight for us.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So, included in your packet is a final draft of the contract. That would be the first contract between the newly formed Lee Career Firefighters, Local 5318 of the International Association of Firefighters, the AFL-CIO, and the town of Lee. And it's a proposal for a one-year contract. It was negotiated between representatives of management, Chief Brown, Lindsey Broom, myself, Chris Britton was a part of those conversations as we begin to transition. And the negotiating team, including, I see a couple members of that negotiating team here tonight, Matt Tyre and Matt Fenton. And I see Chief Brown here as well, and there maybe others on the Zoom meeting that I don't see. But at any rate, I have to say this was a result probably took longer than it should have because of me. However, I think this was probably the most collaborative labor negotiation that I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of. We were able to conform to the fiscal impacts as prescribed by the board in previous discussions on this contract. So I'm happy to be able to report back to the board members that we were able to stay within your fiscal restraints. It is a one-year contract, recognizing that the union under Chapter 153E of the general laws is in fact fully formed, and we are substantially into the fiscal year at this point. So we'll be using this contract, which reflects by and large contracts for similar departments, not only throughout the Berkshires but throughout the Commonwealth. So I don't think you will find anything exceptional in this contract in any way, and for the most part, at least in ways where the contract can remain in line with our non-union personnel. The agreement that's before you has by and large done so, which is one of the goals that we all had. So this will serve as a baseline and a one-year contract to get things started, so that we'll have a good template to work off of for the ensuing years as we move forward with a permanent relationship between the town of Lee and the IAFF. So the salary, this is the question that always comes up. Okay, so what's the salary? The salary represents the same COLA as applied to the other town personnel, which in fact is already in place. So there won't be any changes to current payroll as a result of this contract being signed or approved tonight and signed hopefully in the coming days. Again, overall, I think this was far and away the most collaborative contract negotiation I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of. So I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to do that. I'm thankful to the union and the chief for their patience and forbearance throughout, and I'm glad it was something that we were able to button up before I leave. So I'm happy to take any questions from the board. I see the chief is here and a couple of the members of the negotiating team, and Chris Britton is here as well, obviously.
If I could just interject for a minute. I only got to page 16 because I only got it this afternoon. So
fair enough.
And I had some questions throughout it, things I wanted clarified in my mind, but I'm not going to hold up things. I know you've been working on it for a while. So I'm just asking, this is a pretty standard verbiage of this type of contract throughout the Commonwealth as well as Berkshire County? No big surprises or anything anywhere?
I would say we, without speaking out of turn, I would say we took what we thought was the best from our peers and the best from our non-union personnel standards and melded them into a very collaborative and productive 1-year contract.
Okay. Yeah, the fact that it's 1 year is good because who knows, something might come up within the next year that we want to look at, and should be pretty fresh in our minds. Okay, that's all I've got to say, Bob. Sean?
Yeah, I would just say, given what Chris has just said, and also the team that put it together, that sat down and negotiated it, I feel comfortable with approving it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a chance to review it last night, and everything seems to be in order. However, I don't pretend to be an expert in, union contracts, but it certainly looked pretty good, and I also like the 1 year duration. Seems like a good start for both parties to have a chance to make any corrections in the near future that we would seem to want to make. So I'm happy. I'd make a motion to accept the firefighter IAFF union contract as written.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Sean Renier, aye.
Bob Jones, aye.
Pat Carlino, aye.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and again, want to acknowledge those members of the negotiating team that are present, as well as Chief Brown and our incoming interim town administrator Chris Britton and Lindsay Broom for all their hard work on this. This is really a great effort, and I learned a lot for future negotiations, and I hope that the others who participated learned a lot as well. So I did, Madam Chair, have one item that I wanted to raise that's not on the agenda, and that has to do, if I may.
Of course.
Okay. So that relates to a request that we've received from St. Mary's School regarding their bingo, which has traditionally been on Friday nights, and they were proposing to move it to Saturday afternoon. Now, I personally can't imagine why the town would have an issue with that. However, the state wanted a letter from me or you stating as much. So I have no problem signing a letter to that effect, but I would not do so if I was told here to not proceed. But I since I'll be gone before the event happens, I thought it might make sense just to ask, and unless I heard an objection, I'll go ahead and sign that and get it out.
I'm not objecting, Chris.
Yeah, okay.
Sean, Bob.
No objection here.
Okay.
Finally, I have something to do on Saturday.
All right. Super. We'll make sure that happens. Thank you.
Chris,
right.
do you need a formal vote on that or no?
No, I'll sign the letter myself tomorrow.
Okay.
It'll be fine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So that is about it. Our next our next regular meeting will take place October 5th at 7 o'clock by Zoom. But I would like